Hello. Okay, so today I'm going to start off by showing you what I would call old-fashioned icing, but you're always going to want to mix your spackle first, okay? It just makes it smoother and better to work with. So let's say this part is the part that I mixed just by hand. And this part is what I didn't mix. So hopefully you can see the difference. Okay, so this one's going to be old-fashioned icing. And so this is supposed to look like, like vintage, or like, how your grandmother would have iced a cake. Or your grandmother's grandmother. Okay. And so you would fully ice the cake all the way around. I'm just going to show you a little piece of it. Okay, you don't have to get it too smooth. And this is going to be the best, it's going to work best with a thick layer of frosting or spackle. And you just take the very tip of your spatula and kind of go like this. You don't want it all in the same direction. You want it in different directions. And you kind of go back and forth. So it's a pattern, but it's not. It looks like it's purposely done, but still random. I don't know if that makes sense, but maybe you can see what I mean by that. So that's the old-fashioned icing. Okay, this one I would call rough ice. So you're still gonna get some texture on this one. So you ice your cake flat, and you need thick frosting, but not as thick as the old-fashioned type. And you're going to sort of randomly pull the frosting. I think it works best in one direction. And it is, again, it's not a pattern, but it's purposely done. Purposely done randomly. And this is what it looks like. I'll show you a finished cake. This is what it looks like finished. This is an 8x6, and that has the rough ice. Okay, this is another texture I like to use. This one, I tend to do this if I'm making like a vanilla, strawberry shortcake. I don't know why this is always my go-to, just so that it's not just like plain whipped cream on the outside of the cake. When I'm making real cakes, I like to give it a little bit of texture. So I just take the same spatula that we've been using, and I just stripe up. It also makes your cake look a little bit taller. And if you get a lot of icing, then you just scrape it in the bucket. You never want to have like a pile of icing on the end. That'll mess up the design. So you constantly scrape it off and put it back in the bucket. So it's a nice It's so simple, but it looks nice. Easy design, easy texture design. And if you're having a hard time, you just remember that you just always scrape it down, put it all back in the bucket, start over again. With styrofoam, it's really easy to do. It's a lot harder to do that with when you're making real cake. But styrofoam, it's great. You just scrape it down and then you use the spackle all over again. Okay, and for this last one, I'm gonna show you how to do horizontal lines. This one I did have to ice the cake all the way around so that I could show you with the same spatula. You just touch and drag. I still had to scrape off some of the frosting. Because you don't want it built up on your spatula. So you scrape it off every once in a while. Okay, so there you go. There's your horizontal texture. I'll show you a cake with that, a finished cake with that also. Okay, here's my cake with the horizontal texture that is finished. It's a little hard to see because there's a lot of piping on it, but it's there. And I finished it with a little swirl on top. And the big secret is when you're learning how to decorate, it's easier to make a textured cake than it is to make a smooth cake. The smooth cakes show up, every single flaw in the cake shows up when you ice it smooth. If you do textured cakes, it's a little more forgiving and quite easier to do. So I hope you thought this was helpful. Please remember to like this video and follow this channel, and I'll bring you some more videos soon.